Hello friends, this is Dr. Sangram Patil again. Welcome back in this session. This is the series of probably 2 or maybe 3 videos on the chapter on environment of your 10th CBSE textbook, and I'll be taking you through a few important topics in this chapter. And if you look at the size of this chapter, it's reasonably small, but the topics that need to be covered in this chapter are very important, and I think the activities given in this section as well, they are important, and if you don't concentrate on those activities, then I doubt how much you'll be able to understand from the topic called environment. And this is not about whole environment. I think only 2 important topics are covered in your year 10 textbook. One is about waste disposal, and the second thing is about the impact of various components of the ecosystem on each other, such as environment factors and the living organisms, and how human being contributes to this impact. So let's go through this now. This chapter, as I have said, this is about how various factors in the environment interact with each other, how we impact our environment, and various biochemical cycles that take place, that exist in our environment. They involve essential nutrients like nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, water, that are changed from one form to the other form, and the human activity affects all these environmental processes. So what happens when we actually add our waste to the environment? So this is about the impact of the waste that we generate in day-to-day life. That's actually the activity in your textbook, and I'll take you through that activity very soon. So they ask you to collect the waste material from your home, whatever garbage you are throwing in your dustbin. So that could be from the waste, anything from your kitchen, from your study room, from your garden. The kitchen waste will be in the form of, say, wasted food, that is spoiled food, vegetable peels, used tea powder or tea leaves, milk packets, empty cartons. It could be papers, notebooks, cardboards, plastic or glass bottles, the packaging, bubble packs, old and torn clothes, broken footwear, or it could be weight items, etc. Now the activity wants you to bury this material in a pit, in the school garden, or if there is no space available, you can do this in an old bucket or a flower pot, and cover this with some lead cover this with 15 centimeter of soil. So put a soil on that material, whatever waste items you have got, and keep this for 15 days, and then keep checking every 15 days to see the impact of this process on your waste material. Okay, and you can see certain changes. The household material usually has biodegradable or non-biodegradable. Excuse me, my house is close to the helipad, so there's a noise going on. I'll just hang on. Okay, let's start again. The household waste material consists of biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So after the 15 days, first 15 days, second 15 days, some material like spoiled food, leaves, vegetable peels, etc. have would have decomposed by microbes and fungi in the soil, and because there is a good condition for growth of microbes, fungi and anaerobic bacteria due to the moisture and the warm temperature there. So in 15 to 30 days all the organic matter will get decomposed. The materials like clothes, cardboards, etc., they do get decomposed, but it takes about 3 months. Yeah, but there is some other material like plastic bags, plastic bottles, they will not change over the time, over such a short time. So this shows that organic matter is biodegradable and gets decomposed, but inorganic matter like plastic remains unchanged in a short span of time. Okay, so the plastic packs, glass bottles, medicine strips, cans are non-biodegradable, so they remain unchanged for long period, whereas the organic matter, that is vegetable peels, spoiled food, waste paper, tea leaves, cardboards, they are biodegradable and they change over time. Okay, certain items like food, vegetable peels, they change quickly because they are decomposed easily by the microbes, so they change fast. So we've seen the waste material from our house, from the school, can be biodegradable or non-biodegradable. Okay, so non-biodegradable substances do not get broken by the action of bacteria or other saprophytes. Okay, they persist, the material persists in the environment for a long time and may harm various members of ecosystem. Physical processes like heat and pressure can change non-biodegradable substances rapidly, and that is what is used in industry or in processing the non-biodegradable waste. Okay, so this is about the initial introduction of what type of waste products we have and what type of waste products get broken down easily and why others don't get broken down. Okay, so there is a second activity that's there in your CBSE book. Mind you, I'm referring to online PDF available on internet, so these activities may change, but the second activity wants you to go through your library or internet resources to find out about biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances and how long are various non-biodegradable substances expected to last in our environment. And they also want you to find out about the plastics, new type of plastic that is said to be biodegradable. Okay, so they want you to talk about that as well and whether it is harmful to the environment or not. So we've seen in above discussion that biodegradable waste can be used to, gets decomposed easily, so it can be used to produce biogas and manure, and that can be, it's basically the proper layman word for this is compost. So they can be used for compost. Okay, so composting and biogas production will be helpful domestically. The biogas can be used to generate electricity. Electricity can also be generated from the landfill sites. We'll look into this later in this chapter. Now I have taken this list from various authentic websites about the degradable and non-degradable. This is mainly the non-degradable, but there are some degradable items as well, and approximate time that is required for decomposition of these materials. So have a look at this list, take a screenshot of this so that stays on your mobile or on your laptop or iPad, so I don't have to go through all these one by one with you. So take a screenshot of this, okay, and keep it with you for your reference. So it starts with stainless steel and steel cans, aluminum cans, plastics. Mind you, plastic, there is differing information on various websites. I've taken this from recycling related websites in United Kingdom, in UK where I live. So plastic usually can last in environment for about 20 to 500 years, but plastic bags that are currently used in supermarkets, they can last up to 20 years. But the bags that were used in the past, the plastic bags, they could last up to 1000 years. Okay, so plastic water bottle can last up to 450 years, whereas glass bottle never decomposes, or it can take up to 1 million years. Yeah, so you will get different type of durations for decomposition, but these are from quite authentic sources. Paper 3 to 6 months, cardboards 3 months to a year, polyester 500 plus years, toothbrush take a long time, up to 1000 years, sanitary pads important because they are increasingly being used in the society, they can take up to 25 years, so proper disposal is important. Now on tire, I looked at very contradictory information. Some websites say they can decompose in 60 to 70 years, but a lot of authentic websites say though they disintegrate, the rubber, whether it's a natural or synthetic, that makes the tire, that can be used for recycling, but whether it can decompose completely is doubtful, because the rubber goes into the soil, it goes into the air, it can produce methane, and that's how it pollutes. And there are some metals that are used to make the tire, they can make pollution of the soil, of the water, of the air, groundwater sources. So they do not actually decompose, they cause rubber pollution. So, and that can last for years and years. So tires are very important, and we should not burn them, we should not take them to the normal landfills. They need to be either recycled or they can be disposed of systematically, but I'm not sure whether our municipalities have got that kind of facility to process tires. So it's better to recycle them, okay, or reuse them. Now the exercise also wants you to talk about biodegradable plastic. So here is little bit relevant information. Biodegradable, that means the substance that degrades naturally if left in the environment. Okay, so biodegradable plastics are the plastics that can be decomposed by action of living organisms, usually microbes, into water. Yeah, so these plastic will be converted into water, carbon dioxide, and biological substances, biomass. So that plastic that can be disintegrated by bacteria and fungi into water, carbon dioxide, and biomass is biodegradable plastic. Now these are commonly produced with renewable raw materials, microorganisms, petrochemicals, or combination of all three. So biodegradable plastic can be made from renewable raw material, microorganisms, or petrochemicals, or the combination of all three. There is another word we should not get confused with, that is bioplastic. Bioplastic and biodegradable plastic, they sound similar, but they are not exactly same items, same material. Okay, so bioplastic means that is made up of biological material, that is made partly or entirely from biomass. Okay, that is biological material. but they may not be biodegradable. So bioplastic is made up of biological material, partly or fully, but it may not be biodegradable completely. So understand there's a difference between bioplastic and biodegradable plastic. So biodegradable plastics are commonly used for disposable items like packaging, cutlery, and food service containers. So that's about biodegradable plastic. Okay, so that's the end of that activity. Now let's move on to the very interesting topic, that is our second topic. We got some more topic coming up at the end of this chapter about waste management, but now the CBSE book wants you to go through ecosystems. Okay, so ecosystem is very important topic, and it's not just important for this level, but it is important even when you go for your graduation, post-graduation, when you start working in various areas, whether it is a geographical area, geological, oceans, environment, or you're working in medical sciences or political sciences, you will have to consider ecosystem, botany, zoology, and lots of other fields. Very important topic. Now all organisms such as plants, animals, microorganisms, and human beings are in constant touch with the physical surroundings, and they interact with each other, and they maintain a balance in the nature. All the interacting organisms in an area together with non-living components of the environment, they create ecosystem. So ecosystem is made up of two components. Okay, one is the non-living constituents of the environment, and the second is organisms that are living organisms that live in that environment. So these are plants, animals, microorganisms, and human beings. Okay, so components of ecosystem are also the same thing, can be put as biotic components that are living organisms, and abiotic components that comprises of physical factors like temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, and minerals. So I've just taken this example from internet to show you the ecosystem and its components. So this ecosystem lies in this environment. So it's affected by the rainfall, the wind, the temperature, the soil, the minerals in the soil, the water, all these components. And that is abiotic component, and its biotic component is obviously whatever is living, that's its biotic component. Okay, so you can see this kind of ecosystems when you go out in a garden, sea, lake, everywhere. If you go to the farm, you will see all these ecosystems of different types. If you consider ecosystem of a garden, then you will see flower bearing plants like rose, jasmine, or big trees, grass, and animals like frogs, insects, birds in those gardens. All these living organisms, they interact with each other, and they grow, they reproduce, and they carry out other activities that are affected by abiotic components of the ecosystem. So garden is an ecosystem. Okay, and similarly ponds, lakes, sea, crop fields are the other ecosystems. So there are few different things. So other type of ecosystems are forests, ponds, lakes. These are natural ecosystems, and there are gardens, aquarium, crop fields. These are artificial or human made ecosystems. Okay, so remember this. And there's another activity, very interesting activity now this time. So the activity wants you to design an aquarium. Okay, so I'm sure you must have seen this aquarium somewhere in your life. So what are the things that you need to keep in mind when we create an aquarium? The fish would need a free space for swimming. Yeah, so it can be a cubicle, glass cubicle like this. It can be a big jar. Yeah, you will need a space, you will need a water, you will need an oxygen generator, aerator, and you will need a food. So these are the basic things. Okay, if you want to go for additional things for aquarium, then you will need maybe some plants, yeah, the gravel to give it a natural feel rather than just letting it float or swim on the glass surface. So little gravel, plants. So you can put artificial plants or you can put actual aquatic plants and let them generate energy using light source, that is sunlight, that can generate energy, food, using photosynthesis. Okay, that food can be eaten by the fish, and the carbon dioxide that is released by fish can be consumed by the plants to generate more oxygen. So you will need less oxygen support from the aerator. Okay, so you can have a different kind of design, and this oxygen pump or aerator is very important for the aquarium because it will mix oxygen with this water, and that is important for this fish in our aquarium. So if we add few aquatic plants and animals, it can become a self-sustaining system. Okay, how can it become self-sustaining? As I've just said that it can generate energy, it will provide food, it will also absorb carbon dioxide, it will create oxygen through photosynthesis, so supply oxygen to the fish, take the carbon dioxide away that is dissolved in this water that is produced by the fish, and these plants can also act as food source for this fish. Okay, so it can become self-sustaining, but still you will need to keep an eye on cleanliness of this aquarium. Okay, so can we leave aquarium as such after we set it up? Why does it have to be cleaned once in a while? Do we have to clean ponds or lakes in the same manner, and why not? So obviously we don't have to clean the ponds and lakes because the ponds and lakes have the natural system of getting rid of the dead organisms, the debris, the excreta of fish and other organisms. So there is a natural system that is disintegrated by using bacteria, fungi. It's eaten up by other small organisms, and rest of it just gets settled into the soil, absorbed in the soil, and then soil recycles those substances for reuse again. So lakes and ponds don't need to be cleaned, but the aquarium needs to be cleaned every now and then, because if there are scales or excreta or some dead organisms or fish dies, there will be that waste material, and that needs to be cleaned. Okay, so this is again interesting picture. Have a look. So traditional tanks will have fish, feces and bits of food left in the water. So there will be debris release ammonia that is converted into the nitrates. Okay, and aquatic life then can have harmful effects of these ammonia and nitrates. So water needs to be replaced to remove these nitrates and keep the fish healthy. So you need to keep changing water. But self-sustaining tanks, when fish feces and bits of food are left in water, the debris releases ammonia that is converted into nitrates. Now these plants, they absorb ammonia and nitrates, and that's how they clean the water. So the self-sustaining tanks do not need as much cleaning as the traditional tanks. Okay, so remember this, very interesting concept. Now, according to the manner in which the organisms obtain their sustenance from the environment, the organisms can be grouped into different categories. Okay, so remember this carefully. This is last part of this part 1 video, and then we'll see the next parts of the chapter in second and third parts. So according to the way of their sustenance, yeah, the organisms can be producer. And what are these organisms? These are obviously all the green plants and certain blue-green algae that can produce food by using photosynthesis. So these are the main producers. These are the most important component of the ecosystem and even aquarium if you are using them for food production. The second group of organisms is consumers, and they depend on producers directly or indirectly for their sustenance. So what are the types of consumers? Herbivores, yeah, you must have read this in your previous classes. The cow is herbivore. Herbivores eat plant matter only. The examples: cow, grasshoppers, caterpillars, koalas, and kangaroos. These are vegetable or grass eaters only. The second group is carnivores. These eat other animals. They include dogs, snakes, insects such as dragonfly. Okay, so they eat animals. Third group is omnivores. They eat both plants and animals. This group includes us, human beings, cows. Sorry, I don't know why I have mentioned cow, because cow is a herbivore. Sorry about that. Flies, pigs, foxes. Now the parasites, they feed on other organisms. If you remember parasites, such as ticks, lice, fleas, okay, and different types of worms like ringworm, whipworm, hookworm, tapeworm. So they feed on other organisms. And there is another interesting group of organisms that is called detritivores. Now detritivores are heterotrophic animals. Remember autotrophic and heterotrophic from your nutrition chapter. So they are dependent on others for their food. They are not autotrophics. These are the heterotrophics that feed on dead material. Okay, so they eat decomposing organic matter, including the feces of animals as well as the dead remains of animals and plants. This group includes the dung beetle. Yeah, these are the insects. They feed on cow dung. Worms, organic material that constitutes dead plant or animal matter or waste products of animals, is called as detritus. Remember, the word detritivores comes from the word detritus, because the organic material that is made up of dead plant, dead animal, or waste products of animals is called detritus, and the organisms that feed on detritus are called as detritivores. Okay, this is why they are called as detritivores. So the examples of these are given in this diagram: crabs, snails, earthworms, dung beetle, and flies. Okay, so, and the last group of organisms we've seen: producers, consumers, different types of consumers, and the third group of organisms is decomposers. Okay, and these are bacteria and fungi. So I think we'll finish this part here and we'll move on to the next part in the second video. So I'll see you in second video soon. Take care.